Welcome back to bite-sized folklore, small stories told quietly, so the dark doesn't lean in too close. Tonight's tale comes from Galloway, where Christmas Eve was once believed to be a night when the ordinary rules loosened, and where kindness was said to travel further than it should. This is the Galloway story of the Yule Beggar. Long ago, in the countryside near Castle Douglas, a young shepherd was still out on the hills as daylight drained from the sky. It was Christmas Eve, and winter had come early that year. Snow lay in the hollows, frost gripped the ground hard enough to ring beneath his boots. He counted the flock once. Then again. He was missing one ewe. He searched while he could still see. Down ditches, along hedges, calling softly into the growing dark, but the wind swallowed his voice, and night settled thick and fast. At last, cold and empty-handed, he turned back toward his hut, already imagining the anger waiting for him in the morning. Inside, a small fire burned low. His supper, a bowl of kale brose, sat warming by the hearth. It was all he had to see him through the night. Still, he could not rest. In Galloway, people believed that Christmas Eve was not a night for ignoring trouble. It was a turning night, a night when prayers were heard, if they were made honestly. So the shepherd lifted his bowl from the fire and stepped back outside. Not far from his hut stood an old well, long respected and quietly feared, watched over, so people said, by Saint Ringan. The boy set his bowl down at the stone edge and asked simply for help finding what was lost. He did not wait for an answer. As he turned away, he heard a sound behind him. The unmistakable scrape of a spoon. There, bent over the bowl, was a beggar. The man was thin and poorly dressed, wrapped in rags that looked barely fit for the season. His beard was white with frost, his hands red and raw from the cold. He ate as though he had not tasted warmth in days. The shepherd stood frozen, unsure whether to speak. When the beggar finished, he straightened and thanked him, calmly, politely, as if being found at a holy well on Christmas Eve was the most natural thing in the world. When the shepherd told him about the missing ewe, the beggar listened carefully. Then he nodded and pointed out into the dark. "She's no far," he said. "Down by the old trees in the deep ditch. You've walked past her twice." The shepherd doubted him. He knew that ground. But with little else to go on, he followed. And there, tangled in thorns, half hidden by snow, lay the ewe, trapped and exhausted exactly where the beggar had said. Between them they freed her. The beggar lifted the sheep easily onto his shoulders, as if the cold and hunger had never touched him at all, and he carried her back to the hut. By the fire, warmth returned. The ewe stirred. The shepherd's fear loosened its grip. Grateful, he offered the beggar food, drink, and a place by the hearth for the night. But the beggar shook his head. "I've a long road yet," he said. "Where are you going?" the shepherd asked. The beggar smiled. "To Bethlehem," he said. "Where else would I be bound this night?" And with that, he stepped out into the darkness. Some people say the shepherd followed him to the door and saw a pale path of light stretching across the fields, fading slowly towards the east. Others say there was nothing at all, only the sound of the wind and the fire settling deeper in the hearth. In Galloway, this story was not told as a miracle meant to dazzle. It was told as a reminder that help may arrive disguised as hunger. That generosity, even when it costs you, is never wasted. And that on Christmas Eve, the roads are busy with more than travellers. Because sometimes, the Yule Beggar is not there to ask, but to answer. That's all for this episode of Bite Sized Folklore. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please share it with a friend. It helps us out immensely. And I'll be back on Friday with another festive episode.